What if I told you the most profitable business in the world isn't run by Apple, Saudi Aramco, or Wall Street? It's run by governments themselves. And the product isn't oil, gold, or technology. A product so addictive, nations are now dependent on it. But here's the mystery. If money printing is so dangerous, why do countries keep doing more of it, even when history shows it always ends in disaster? Today, you'll see how money printing became humanity's most profitable addiction and why no government can quit. To understand how this addiction began, we need to go back to a simple truth. Governments used to fear printing money. For centuries, money was tied to gold. You couldn't print more unless you physically had the gold to back it. This created a natural limit, a financial leash. They wanted wars, expansion, ambitious projects, without waiting for taxes or gold mines. At first, it was created just as a promise, a certificate exchangeable for gold. But when governments realized people were willing to trust these pieces of paper, something snapped. For the first time, money existed separately from gold. And this is where the story gets twisted. The very thing meant to help society became a tool to quietly extract wealth from it. This would lead to empires rising, economies crashing, and a financial system built on unlimited creation with no off switch. The first warning signs came early. In 1716, John Law convinced France to print money to solve its debt crisis. For a while, it worked like magic. Rising markets, booming trade, happy citizens. But when people realized the money had no real value behind it, panic hit. The experiment collapsed. Millions were ruined. Lesson learned? Not at all. You can use printed money to temporarily create prosperity. World wars pushed nations to print money like never before. Economists warned, historians warned, but printing money helped fund wars quickly. Governments chose short-term survival over long-term stability. By 1944, the world tried to restore discipline with the Bretton Woods system, tying currencies to the US dollar and the dollar to gold. But even America couldn't resist printing more. In 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard. Just like that, money lost all physical limits. For the first time in history, printing became infinite. The addiction officially began. Once money became limitless, the world changed. Politicians discovered a cheat code. Print money gives boost economy, gives win elections. Central banks discovered new tools. Lower interest rates, quantitative easing, bond purchases. Every crisis made printing feel necessary. Recessions? Print. Housing crashes? Print. Pandemics? Print faster. Between 2008 and 2020, the US printed more money than in the previous century combined. Japan printed so much that its central bank became the largest shareholder in its stock market. China used printing to fuel rapid industrial expansion and global influence. And Europe printed to keep entire national economies from collapsing. Money printing became not just a tool, but the backbone of global stability. But here's the twist. The more money that was printed, the more the world needed it. Economies became dependent, like addicts chasing the next high. Stock markets grew addicted to cheap liquidity. The system now needs constant injections just to stay alive. This wasn't accidental. It was cause and effect. Because once you inflate an economy, stopping means collapse. This is why quitting money printing is almost impossible. It's like trying to get off a drug that your entire body and country depends on. Every addiction has a breaking point. For money printing, it's inflation. At first, inflation feels small. A price increase here, a shortage there. In Argentina, money printing caused multiple currency collapses. In Zimbabwe, inflation soared to 79 billion%. People needed wheelbarrows of cash for bread. In Weimar Germany, money became so worthless that children used banknotes as toys. These stories are not rare, they're warnings. Confidence. Once people stop believing in the value of money, the addiction ends violently. And because modern money is backed by trust alone, confidence is everything. Today, inflation is rising worldwide, and governments are still printing. The next breaking point may already be forming. The fallout of money printing doesn't appear overnight. Savings lose value. Housing becomes unaffordable. The poor suffer because essentials inflate, and inequality grows not by accident, but as a direct consequence of inflation. Governments then print more to fix the problem, but that printing creates even more inflation. And once trapped, they can't escape without pain. Every major empire in history collapsed after abusing its currency. The pattern is thousands of years old, yet still ignored. So why don't governments stop printing? First, stopping would crash markets immediately. Second, debt becomes impossible to repay without inflation. Third, politicians want short-term wins, not long-term stability. Every attempt to reduce printing ends in recession or public anger. So leaders choose the addictive path. Because printing money is politically easy, but cutting spending is political suicide. As a result, the world is locked into a financial loop with no exit. This isn't a conspiracy, and incentives always win. Now the global economy runs on printed money. 40% of all US dollars in existence were printed within the last few years. More new money was created in the last decade than the previous 100 years. Print gives, boom gives, dependence gives, inflation gives, crisis gives more printing. Every country is repeating the same cycle, just at different speeds. Some nations will inflate slowly, but the ending is always the same. The question isn't if this addiction ends. And no one, not governments, not economists, knows how much longer the system can hold. Takeaway 1. Money printing always starts as a solution, but ends as a dependency. Takeaway 2. Inflation isn't an accident, it's the cost of keeping the system alive. Every empire believed this time is different. We are living through the largest monetary experiment in history, and the ending is unwritten. It will be one small crisis at a time. If this video opened your eyes, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to understand the world behind the money in their wallet.